get my cake, I ain't taking no pay cut. You know that I'm wildin'. It's time to wake up, and go get my cake up. I don't break up the makeup, you know that I'm out here. It's time to wake up, go get my cake up. Ain't taking no pay cut. You know that I'm wildin'. It's time to wake up, go get my cake up. I don't break up the makeup, you know that I'm out here.
Today, super excited. Have on Darryl Harvey. I'm not just excited because he also has my first name. I'm genuinely excited because this guy has found success on two, but he's found success in two major markets. The first market being the new adult market, and he's also extremely successful within children's books. I'm not sure if I'm completely accurate on that information. I guess we'll figure out no, but he is extremely successful on the children's books front. This is like the genuine first time where I've besides J.O., I've never met this person before. We spoke the first time when I asked him to be on the show, but this is really the heart and soul of what the show was all about. In the first place was being able to network with different authors, being able to network with different people, and especially being able to network with authors that brand new to the game, authors that are more experienced, authors that I've never personally met before. So just gotta wait for him to get in here. Oh, there we go. Hello? Hey. How's everything? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hey, how are you?
All right. What's going on, man?
Everything's good. Everything's good. How's your Sunday treating you?
So far, so good.
Beautiful thing to hear. This is great, man. This is the first time we're ever really getting to sit down and talk. I don't know if you ever got to see the show before and how it's structured. It's just conversation based. Things are just kind of gonna flow. I do have a few questions for you though.
Go right ahead.
One thing that super stood out to me when I actually got a chance to check out your website, because I thought you only did children's books, but it seems like you've done both sides of the map, that you write for children, you also write for the parents apparently too.
Right.
How did that come about? Because I know a lot of people, that's one thing I was saying when I was introducing you just now, is that you found success in two different marketplaces that are vastly different. And a lot of people struggle inside their niche. You know, they might think they have Black woman categorized down pack. They got no sales. So how were you able, I don't know if you started in one category and then went to the next.
Exactly.
Just let me know the story. What happened?
So originally, I was, sorry about that. I was more into poetry.
Nice. Say about it.
I discovered poetry in high school, my senior year of high school.
Cool.
And I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. And from high school on into college, I started trying to develop my craft as a poet. And so in college, there was a quarterly African-American magazine that I submitted some poems to, and they printed them.
You got started with the magazine.
Sorry?
You got started with the magazine.
Right. In college, I was able to do that. And, then from then on, I was going to open mics. After I graduated college, I started going to open mics, and then I started hearing all these different styles from older people my age, from men, from women, etc. And I was like, wow. And so that heavily influenced my first book.
So the open mics and getting exposed to all these different people kind of just infused back to you.
Right.
So how did it lead to the first book exactly?
Well, so of course I am, a Black man and I live in Chicago. So
Yeah, that's big.
There's two things right there.
It stressed the fuck out when he said that,
bro. Exactly. But so the first book was Loving a Black Woman. And I wrote that at the beginning of the I published that like 2003. Sure. But that was a culmination of probably about a collection of poetry over the course of 10 years. Nice. Yeah, and so what prompted that was at that time there were a lot of books being written and a lot of conversation around the Black couple, the Black romance, the couple. So, and a lot of people that were writing were either women or people who were non-Black.
Facts.
So I said, why don't I spin it and do something poetically? And so that's what I knew how to do. And so I kind of sort of wrote this book, which is a long love letter, more or less, of Black men's feelings to Black women.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. And it's broken up into chapters of love, lust, and heartbreak. So, a lot of times, or at least back then, they said that guys didn't express their feelings.
Yeah.
So that's what that book is. It's an expression of those feelings.
Good for all of us. You spoke up so the rest of us didn't have to.
Yeah.
You touched on like a major point that I've noticed. I've only been writing for about 4 years now, but I've noticed it's the same thing with like artistry and like authorship as it is kind of with the school system. It's predominantly women and it's predominantly white women. It's right. Like most of these writers, most of the fans, most of the people that read books, it's like a white woman's market to be like 1,000% a brick with anyone watching this. That's how I feel about like being an author right now. But then the other side is that I just see Black women. And it's a very specific type of Black woman. Some of them are married and very happy, and they write very beautiful love stories. But what I see targeted towards Black women with urban fiction specifically is that I see just a lot of broken, damaged, emotionally disturbing, like just really scary crap I've gone through, let alone to like consciously sit down and write a book about it. And that's all the book's about. It's not like overcoming it. It's not like you're going through this situation and you're finding a healthy way to get out. It's just, it seems like we need more voices like that to write the love letter, to try to bridge the gap, because it seems like a lot of this work is just building the bridge and building the wall higher and higher and higher. And then a lot of these people are coming to it and they're just soaking up like massive negativity. Like I feel like authorship can really save a lot of people. Like when you write a book and someone sits down for 3 to 5 hours to read, you can really impact this person's life. And if you're writing them a love letter, I think that's a lot more freaking positive than like a lot of the other stuff that I see that's out here. So I thank you. I really do thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that. And thank you. Actually, Loving a Black Woman, that whole experience of that being my first book.
Yeah.
So the internet, really wasn't going on in 2003 like that. So I had to get out there and, hustle and find different venues and different events that looked like they would be a good place for me to market this book. And so I went to, that first couple of years, I went to a couple of, I went to sorority conventions and other events that were, Black women filled. And that's just learning your way as a first time author. But a couple of experiences that I had during those times were a couple of women at different times too. This was really crazy. Came to my table, saw my book, and picked it up and thumbed through it and broke out crying. And I'm freaking out. I'm like, why is this lady crying? Miss, are you okay? And and this happened on more than one occasion. It happened twice to me. And
read your book and have like a massive. That's pretty beautiful though.
Yeah, but when you don't know what's going on, it's scary. Yeah, but then the first lady came back and she told me that she read something in the book that sparked a memory in her life. And bought the book, and I was just like, wow, I must be doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Is that when you felt like you really found like your purpose and your calling with authorship?
Yeah, I've never stopped writing. So, that was my first book of poetry. And that was like 2003, 2004. And I'm currently 5 books of poetry in, and I have another one that like 3/4 of the way finished. So I will publish that, if not later this year, then early next year.
So I don't want to get like too personal, but what was it within your experience that led to creating this book, A Love Letter to Black Women, that these women were just all inspired by? I can't even find the word for it. Was it your own relationship, or was it like, I don't know?
Well, in writing poetry, when I got into college, I discovered, that I had this thing for the written word. I found enjoyment out of it. So I became a journalism major and an English minor. And so therefore, I, had to take a lot of classes that involved writing.
Absolutely.
So there's that. But then, I'm a romantic. So poetry and romance and words, all that, kind of falls in line together. So yes, I've written poems about relationships that I've been in, but I've also written poems about my mother. I've written poems about my sister, and just women in general. Pretty girl walking down the street.
I wrote one poem like that years ago. I think 2010 or so, maybe 2011 or 2012. There's like this really pretty girl across from me sitting at a pool, and I just could not approach her. So I just like in my phone wrote down a little poem. I just kept it to myself, and I just kept it moving. And I don't know, I never forget that. So I totally dig that vibe. So you're
right. It happens.
Yeah, it happens a lot more once you settle down.
It's funny how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like once you feel like you found the one, God's like, well, there are like 1,000 other ones.
Yeah, tests, I guess.
If your faith can't be tested, your faith can't be trusted, man.
Right.
You got to know you made the right decision.
Right.
So writing for the overall relationship period between Black men and Black women. It's not just the sense of the romantic type of relationships that we get caught into. You're writing for the overall relationship. And that's a very unique take. I don't think I've ever had anyone do that before. What?
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say I've written from that aspect, and also from the point of being heartbroken.
Yeah.
I've written from the aspect of being attracted to someone lustfully, to being totally deep in love with someone, to just respecting them and admiring them.
It low-key, high-key reminds me of like the experience when I wrote my book, Best Friends. It seems like you're kind of encapsulating exactly what I was going through in my college years. that I had like this really, really tumultuous relationship, and I found something better that I'm kind of doing now. Advantages to both sides, I guess. But just going through that college experience, knowing that writing was my calling and my passions, like my main way to express myself, really, because back then I didn't have the ability to like communicate with words as I've had to work really hard to develop now. So writing was like everything. And I wrote this book, Best Friends, from that same perspective of wanting to give men their voice in romance. Because we don't have a lot of male romance books. There's not a lot of even male romance movies geared towards us. We're just supposed to work and get killed. And yeah, it's like
Yeah.
people talk about the dynamic. I have a lot of feminist friends. I'm not saying that to blow off the ideals that I'm about to say about feminism, but it's definitely geared towards one side and people's perspectives of the male female dynamic, when mostly men are just kind of, we get a rough end of the deal some freaking times, man. A lot of guys don't even know it. Like being wanted for a cock piece and for a wallet is not a lot of glory involved. If all people think they can do with you is send you to war to die or have you work on their car, they don't have a very high sense of like respect for you and what you're going through. So Best Friends was trying to be like a kind of calling card for men to have some sense of voice, some sense of representation. Do you feel like your book is more so representing men, or do you feel like your book is more so representing women, or is it not really meant to represent anybody? Is it meant to just be the story itself, the letter itself, and the relationship?
Well, that first book, again, I'm
I
on,
have a lot more books than that as well.
right.
You talk
So if
about
we, well, Loving a Black Woman, that was the first book, which was meant to be a a revelation of sorts for Black women. It was meant to be written to them
okay,
from the male point of view of expressing feelings that aren't always expressed. You know, like you said, sometimes we're looked at for one or two things and not being allowed to have emotions or thought of as that we actually have emotions. We suffer from so many stereotypes that is ridiculous. Um,
I don't want
men,
to. We feel forced to embrace those stereotypes sometimes as well.
oh yeah,
We feel
oh yeah,
it's. You just made a really good point. I didn't want to cut you off, but I really couldn't ignore that.
yeah. We are supposed to be strong, silent, and able to do everything except be allowed to sit down and have a conversation and tell you how we feel and if we're hurt and you know, if we're feeling a moment which some might consider what they call soft, and just being appreciative of love.
You know,
You
sensitivity.
know? Yeah, we're supposed to be alpha males, and you know,
I'm really glad you brought that up too.
yeah, that is, you know, what is still thought by many as what a man should be. But you know, that's what breaks a lot of guys, because they aren't allowed to express their feelings and be received for what they feel in that moment, or if there is a moment where they are hurt, or if there is a moment when they've made a mistake. You know, we aren't supposed to be able to feel. We're just supposed to, you know, be man, and that's it. You know, but that's not it. That's way not it. We suffer from so many traumatic things that we need to find a way to express that, you know, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of men don't know how to express themselves. And so for me, poetry allows me to do that.
You're hitting on like so many important topics for Black men to hear, and I say specifically us. It's something that's affecting all men right now. One thing you brought up was like the false alpha movement, and I call it false alpha movement, the fake red pill movement, because of just kind of the transitions that I've had to take in my life. That at one point in time I kind of embodied that stereotypical alpha male bullcrap, but it's also the time in which I was the most depressed, I was the most unhealthy. It's like I was highly socially valuable, but it's like being so socially I guess I don't want to say valued in like a narcissistic type of way, but just kind of representing that stereotypical desire that people having money, having the education, having women around you, having access and all these things. But then when you have to maintain that in reality and you have to function within your real day life and you have depression, you have, I don't have bipolar disorder or anything like that, but I have friends that are suffering with very unique emotional issues that if someone would have just talked about this with them when they were 10 years old or 7 years old, it would have solved everything for them. I'm seeing now people that are growing up who are in their 30s or 40s that have been dealing with emotional disturbances and issues to a point where it's just been normalized to their life. Their entire life perspective is wrapped up in a damaged, broken lens of life that nobody stopped to help and correct. And I think with men, it's a lot more dangerous for us because women go, every human being goes through it. But I think with men, it's a lot more dangerous for us because we don't have those kind of safe spaces and those kind of circles to talk about our feelings. Maybe if you're in like a Bible study group, that's like the only time I've ever found men more in touch with their kind of sensitivity side and those kind of feelings of connection and brotherhood. Other than, I guess I was in a fraternity as well. It was a little bit different. It was more of that other side of you have to kind of put aside your humanity. You have to put aside your emotions. You have to put aside what you're going through, the differences between the church group and the fraternity. And the fraternity, you just have to focus on getting through college and getting a great job, and that's it. Drink your pain away, smoke your pain away, do anything you can not to feel anything, to keep getting up every day and keep moving forward, versus having men around you that are like, God, I'm not enough, I can't do this, and I need your assistance. Two completely different mindsets. And it's a sickness for us, is that we don't realize that alpha males, in the most part, and I'm not saying like men with great leadership capability. I'm not talking, I mean, like the frequency, the alpha frequency in itself, those are the men that are easy to lead. Those are the men that are easy to control. Those aren't the dudes that are thinking, they're just action, action. There's no benefits to that for most men. There's no benefits to that for most people in general. And it's like the reason why, just to get to the truth of it, why that mindset is so desired is so that a more manipulative woman can come along, kind of take advantage of this unquestioning person who's just going to be her slave, who's just going to work for her until whatever. And it's not beneficial to anything. I'm talking to a lot of young men now specifically that are starting to date, that are starting to get in relationships, that are finding like very depressing, like very disturbing situations. Guy, he's gonna get married. I'm sorry, like going on for a while, but one situation where my friends was gonna get married in a year. A few months before they're about to get married, she just leaves, and he has no idea why. And I'm talking to him, trying to get a sense of it. And it's like from talking to him, I can kind of see why there would have been issues. But it's like it's the burden's put on us. Like we're the ones with emotional issues. The stereotypes are put on us. Like we can't communicate, and because of that, a lot of men are being put in situations where they're being mistreated based off a stereotype, not even based off the actuality of the situation that they're going through. And it's rough. If they
Well,
go ahead.
yeah, if I could interject here,
Please.
in a relationship, there are two parties, or at least there's supposed to be two parties. And oftentimes, I think it's 50-50. You know, oftentimes men mess up, but also females mess up as well. And, you know, sometimes that situation, you know, depending upon what the reason was for the breakup or the longevity of the relationship, can cause one or both parties to be emotionally damaged after that relationship has, you know, gone defunct. And the thing about that is, in such a situation, I highly recommend that both parties see a counselor or something like this.
Yeah, facts.
You know, you have to go through a period where you can recover from that. And I know I can speak for myself. I was in a long-term relationship, and it ended, and I did not, seek counseling or something like that, and it left me, kind of screwed up, emotionally for a while. And I think though now parts of the country anyway, have become more aware of the need for counseling and therapy.
Absolutely.
And I know of programs that help young men out. Actually, I'm employed by one, and it helps young men out. So it's still the need, or the assistance still isn't as widespread as it should be, but there is more access to it, and hopefully it'll help the young people, the people in general that need it. I just saw, I'm in Chicago, and I just saw a posting for a young ladies group for counseling. And so I see that more and more people are becoming aware of the mental health needs, and, getting resources out there. So I sincerely hope that people get what they need, because, being emotionally broken is not the best feeling in the world. And it's therapeutic for me to write about it. My second book is called Deal with the Devil, The Fire and the Flame, which talks about losing a great love, but then moving on to find new love. Giving yourself a chance to purge
from the past,
get that out your system, and be open to new experience.
Because you remind me of something, I don't know why, but it's like it's fitting in with what you're saying. But literally before this meeting, about 30 minutes or so, I was writing a scene between my characters. It's connected, don't worry. And it's connected to a lot of what you're saying. It's a father and a son, but the father had died years ago before the son even knew the two. It's a fantasy story. But he's basically telling his son that, you can't be embodied by your failures. Failure is going to be inevitable. The guy's like a king of a great nation. There's a lot of lives at stake if he makes a wrong decision, and he's feeling the pressure of leadership. So his father, who was the king before him, is telling him, this is going to happen. It's you're going to suffer from these things, but you have to be able to find some way to understand what went wrong, rather than simply saying this went wrong. Because people say this went wrong, this went wrong, this was wrong. And they think that's justification enough not to pick yourself back up and love again, or not to pick yourself back up and try again. But understanding what went wrong is going to be exactly what helps you fix it out for the next situation in time. A lot of us are damaged from our parents. A lot of us are damaged from societal type of things. And we have a responsibility to kind of take care of that. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I remember myself before I started dating, and how much happier I was, first and foremost. I remember myself while I was dating, and another one of these author discussion sessions I had with Ari K and Linda Bennett was that I didn't feel like women valued me. I was doing what I was doing because I was seeking love. I was seeking affection. That's why I was with all these women, obviously. But I didn't find that connection. I didn't find, just like we have that women have a stereotypical perspective as us, being quiet and stoic and being a hyper provider. I had a lot of stereotypical beliefs and viewpoints of women as well that really held us back from reaching some higher level. And I hear it with some other people as well. The second book, though, Deal with the Devil, how does that work? How do you moving from?
So I thought I was being clever with the title, Deal with the Devil. And, it's kind of weird because some people, I've had some people look at the book and go and think that it's something based upon a religion.
Yeah, facts. That's or
right.
Type of that kind of industry stuff. Maybe that's some type of way.
However, You know, if I'm sure you've seen a movie where somebody made a deal with the devil for money or a deal with the devil for power or something like that. So the title really refers to
That kind
a
of
deal with the devil for love.
thing.
And it's a very short piece, and it basically says, what good is my soul anyway without the one who makes me happy?
That's beautiful.
So basically, you're selling your soul for love.
Yeah.
That was the tie-in to the title, but the book itself basically is, like I said before, it's about losing someone, feeling all that pain, and then opening yourself up for somebody else. Actually, I have a copy of it, and I could read a piece from that if you wouldn't.
Feel free.
You don't mind. Hold on a second.
That's getting good so far. I love the picture behind you as well.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
There's actually a glare because of the light, but turn it off. I don't know if you can see it any better.
I can see it.
That is called He Ain't Heavy.
What does it mean to you?
Oh, man, that's, being someone that works in social services, that's the big thing in reaching to help someone else make it. One of my favorite pieces.
Which one is?
What? So, as I said before, this was Deal with the Devil, the Fire and the Flame. And this first chapter deals with losing a great love. And I'm going to read, what piece should I read out of this? I'm going to read Loneliness on a Tuesday Afternoon.
No one's ever done this before. This is so awesome. Please go ahead.
Missing you had carried over from Saturday night to Sunday night to Monday night to now. And I realized that I'd managed to fill that time, but my heart remained empty. See, the things that normally made me feel good didn't. And there was this gnawing at my soul that I wished would stop, but wouldn't. And in 72 hours, or was it 73, I found that I wasn't myself. I wasn't whole. I was incomplete. And the ache of that heartbreak made me comprehend that all the alcohol I could drink couldn't stop the need to hold and be held. And that's that piece.
Yeah, it's poetry. You gotta snap. That's good.
Right.
Dude.
But at the same time, when I wrote this book, I was coming out of a relationship. And it was one that really hurt because it was all my fault. And but I had to purge.
You mentioned
I had to purge and
no, go ahead. You mentioned the one line.
No, I was just
I'm sorry. With the structure of the show that's gonna happen, please go ahead. You're the guest, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. No, I was just saying that as I was saying before, that had to happen, I guess. When I decided to, I couldn't help it actually. I couldn't help writing after that because this person did mean a lot to me, and I had to get that out. I had to free myself of that, and the only way I could do it was by writing. And I really loved that book. I love all my books, but I really love that book and just the passion that's in it. It's evident.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It felt like, I don't know, it's so relatable. I was gonna say, you mentioned the line, that what felt good before doesn't feel good anymore. And I think that's the sign where like everybody knows, all right, like this is gone awry now. It's like everything that used to make me happy is now making me be miserable. Everything, because it's, I don't know, sometimes we fall in love with something, and the moment that we fall in love isn't the totality of the situation. And the moment, the aspects that we fall in love with can be so small of the overall reality, is that once we really have those feelings and we're really tied in with our emotions with somebody, we realize that we're loving like the smallest aspect of who they are. And we're forced to live with everything else that this person has gone through in life. And
Right.
we don't always fucking know that. It's like it's hard. I can feel the toughness of the situation just from hearing the poem, because it's transformative just within itself. It's metamorphosizing like just within itself, of just having to go through that mental transition and that sense of acceptance that my life is changing forever now. And
Exactly.
that's the hardest part of any, because it's like if you stay in the relationship and you work it out, that's not as hard as completely losing this thing and now you just have you. And that was the hardest part for me going through my breakup as well, was that afterwards it wasn't like I had this same person to trauma bond with and to talk about this and how crazy we are and laugh it off, to have some sense of forgiveness. I had to look myself in the mirror every day and apologize for a year because I had put myself in that situation and it nearly destroyed me. And I don't know, thank you for reading that. Thank you. That was
Well, I think as a man, you, well, as a human, you go through breakups, and they are no one's favorite thing to have happen. But it's kind of like what was that? Rites of passage. It's kind of like a rites of passage where you have to experience this thing in order to call yourself a man or a woman. Because I don't think you're really one until you go through these things and make it through.
because then you know to never do that shit to another person again. Yeah, but like facts though, like there's just certain things about relation, either like going through it or hearing it for somebody else. I'm currently writing like a story now. I don't know, the inspiration just struck me out of nowhere, but it's kind of like this girl's best friend moves in with her and her boyfriend because her friend's going through a really tough time. But it's not like just the run of them. It's not the pornographic side of that situation in itself. Yes, they have sex and they cheat, but they both have to also deal with the actual emotional repercussions of what they're doing, not just to the woman that they're hurting and affecting whose trust they're abusing, but it's like I'm focusing really on writing the story from the perspective of this young girl going through this situation, overwhelmed with guilt the entire time that she's doing it, knowing it's wrong. Because you only get one side. I feel like once you go through certain things, the best example I love to give to this to people is when soldiers go away to Iraq. You had a lot of soldiers that went to Vietnam and they come back pacifist. They go there ready for a fight. They get trained, spoiling for a fight. And then once they actually experience the battlefield, they see what it's like. They're in the theater of war. They never want to go back again. Some people do. And those guys are a different breed of human being entirely. But I get to meet a lot of the guys that come back from excuse me, sorry. I don't know if you have any prior military experience. My mother works for the military. I was not in the military. I just had a lot of friends that have gone through those transitional phases for those 4 years to get through college or what have you. But I noticed that, hey, like once you experience really bad trauma, once you've gone through something that moves and shakes you to your core, you never want anybody to go through that situation again.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people just haven't. I feel like the way the society's set up now, it's like breakups from my generation are like a mainstay. It just seems like I know you say it's a rite of passage, but it seems like overly abundant with us. It's not even like these young couples are giving their relationship a chance. So what about the other side of things where we hear so much about toxic abusive relationships, and I feel like those are extreme scenarios. I don't think those are the reality of the majority of people getting divorced or getting broken up to. What do you say to people who are in situations that they can fix and they're about to go through a breakup simply because they don't know that their situation can be fixed?
Communication is always the key to everything, and that means communicating with the person that you're in a relationship with. That doesn't mean all your friends on Facebook and airing your dirty laundry on social media. That means talking to the person that you're in a relationship with and seeing if, having a clear understanding if this is something that is going to work or not. It, am I what you want or not? Am I doing the things that make you happy? Are you happy or not? And if you're not happy, if I'm not happy, is this something that can be fixed or not? Sometimes people don't want to have those very hard to have conversations.
Max.
Yeah, I love you so much for, yeah, I love you. So I love how you look, and I love, the job that you have, but I don't love the person that you are, or your particular habit of leaving strips of paper towels all over the place.
The Q-tips.
Yeah. Can we it's right on the tip of my tongue, and I should be able to say this word. Compromise. Can we compromise this particular thing that, drives me crazy or drives you crazy?
Max. And sometimes those aren't like, you raise a good point with that, because that's something I said to him. Was, I'm trying to remember what I said because I don't want to bring up his name and I don't want to offend him because I really care about this person. But it's just a really relevant situation of what you're talking about. It's like, God, he was talking about something that she did. I can't bring up the exact situation because I don't remember all the details and I don't want to say the story improperly. But basically, the moral that I said to him was that it might be a small thing to you, but you're not her. You might think it's stupid to you. You might think it's stupid. You might think it's dumb. You don't have to live with it. And that's a critical thing. I feel like in a lot of these relationships I'm referring to and talking about would save everybody. It's just sometimes there's just things that we can do for somebody else. And it's so small to us. Like my mom will tell me that stuff now, and I could very easily be like, Mom, I'm telling you, I'm not about to listen to you right now. I'm 27. I don't like what you gotta say. Be quiet. Take that down somewhere. But no, it doesn't make any sense. When you're asking me to just, can you turn off the light behind you when you leave the garage? Can you unplug something? I think it's such a small thing to do that it's like to get mad at somebody because you feel like they're nagging you sometimes. They're nagging you because you're forgetting to do it. It's like it might be easy to do. It might seem nonsensical, but it builds up over time, and it builds up over time. I feel like that's like some of the fucking hardest ones is when you're breaking up over something that they told you what you could, and it just did not.
Yeah. Well, now see, there's a couple of different ways to look at that too, because all right, if you don't express that, then it builds up in you, and you have resentment for the person that you're with. If you don't express it, and if you express it and it's still not, there's nothing done, then of course, yeah, you end up having resentment either way. So maybe that's just not the person for you.
Yeah, I think resentment is definitely like top number one killer in all relationships. And I feel resentment sometimes comes with that sense of imbalance as well. I think with your examples, if you're telling someone, I've read it with Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, it's that someone might relent to do the thing for you, but at the end of the day, they're just doing it to get you to, they're not doing it anymore because it's going to generate any sense of happiness. It's no longer being done because it's beneficial to anybody. And that's like a dangerous side of a lot of like love relationships too. Going back to the idea of like the stereotypes that we follow for women, you might have a girl that can't cook whatsoever, who hates cooking and feels trapped to cook. And if they could just eat out or something, find some compromise, find some way to discuss things, they could save themselves. That was another one of the topics that they were dealing with, was that she didn't cook. I guess talking about personal and my stuff too. Communication is it comes back down to communication every single time. So
Right.
I'm a big picture thinker, so it's like I can find 1,000 ways to solve a problem. Which action are we gonna take though? Like it's a whole different like realm of the ballpark. It's like I can theoretically solve the problem in my head, but it's like I have to catch up with myself and be like, we're gonna be together. If we do work out, we're together for the next 50 to 70 years of our lives. It's probably gonna take us some time to work on these things. I think sometimes we want things to fix themselves, and it's more like
Takes longer than that. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of what my poetry has been about. It's been about it's been about experiences. It's been about fantasies. It's been about desires. And also, though, I did write one book of poetry that's more about my political. And I don't even know if political is the right word, but there are some pieces in there that are political and social. It's called Open Season, Growing Up Black in America. And it just talks about things that I've observed over, a period of, 30 years or so, just growing up Black in America. But I've also been a social worker, so I've seen other deeper aspects of social ills. And of course, over the last, I'd say, maybe about the last 10 years, the shootings of unarmed Black men have been so, thanks to camera phones, has been so open, and just an outright murder of Black men has been so
justified.
Publicized. Publicized is the word I want to use, because of cameras and because of social media. We've now been able to catch, crimes that probably we heard happen years ago and didn't see, but now we're seeing the outright murder of young Black men. And so that book deals with that. I'm very pro-Black. I'm Black. I'm not anti anybody else, but it's obvious that the deck is stacked against us. And being a Black man is, like we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of stress and pressure on being a Black man, and maybe even fear. You could just be walking down the street, or trying to sell cigarettes or whatever crazy thing you may be up to, and somebody decides that they want to kill a Black man today. It's crazy. But all that, and I still write educational books for children.
I want to get to that. What prompted you to step from that arena of writing poetry for adults to getting into writing children's books? Was it to save the kids, obviously?
It's kind of funny because I wasn't really planning it. As I said before, I've worked in social services my entire professional career. And it just so happens that someone asked me to be a mentor to a young Black boy. And everybody in his life was female. He lived in the house with an adopted mother. He had a sister. His babysitter was a female. His teacher was a female. He had no positive male influence. And so I was asked to spend some time with him. And so I spent a year with him. And as our time was coming to an end, I wanted to give him something to remember me by. And so in my head, I was like, what can I do? And I used kind of sort of my poetic skill to write a motivating story for him. Initially, this was just for him. But I was like, this has some potential and maybe I should do more with it. And this is way back. This is 2007. Wow, 2007, 2008. And this was in the days of MySpace, the platform known as MySpace. And I just happened to be on that platform, and I saw on another friend's page this artist who lived in Chicago. And I connected with that artist, and he became my illustrator for that book. And that book is called I Can Do Anything, and that's how it was born. And, I didn't know what it would do, but people really liked it. And I still sell that book to this day. This is 2021. And I sell that book, and man, I have 11 titles published, but that is my bestseller. It's a self-esteem book for a preschooler, and people love it.
You need it. These preschoolers are getting stressed out, man. The tough society when you're 5 years old and you got to work for the rest of your goddamn life.
Well, so after that, after I got that reception for that book, it just encouraged me to do more. And so since then, I've written, there are now 6 books in that series that I call the Sunflower series, and they focus on lessons of social, emotional learning, like bullying, how to deal with bullies, self-esteem. And in my last book, in one of the books, I introduced the themes of integrity and keeping your word. So, it's really exciting. And it has given me the thought that, actually I've sprung from just writing those books to now my latest venture is hosting what I call the Black Child Book Fair.
I was going to ask you about that too.
Yeah, so that's where that came from. So I put together my series, and I'm also, along the way, I founded another organization called the Chicago Black Authors Network, which is a mentoring organization, so to speak, for people that are writers. So first-time writers in the Chicago area, our group helps give them guidance, so to speak, in the publishing and marketing of their books. So that has been going on for 11 years. And so now I've gone on to this other venture where I'm hosting the Black Child Book Fair, and which started in Chicago in 2019. And it was just, this really great turnout of people in support of finding these Black authors with positive Black books, Black characters. A really great turnout. So I was like, Chicago's one city, one urban area. What about the rest of the country? And so 2020, right before the pandemic broke out, February 2020, I did 3 cities, Chicago, St. Louis, and Indianapolis. So here we are a year later, after going through all the cancellations and everything of the pandemic, and I'm preparing the Black Child Book Fair for a 6-city spring and summer tour. And we're starting in Chicago, but then we're going to Chicago, April 24th, Louisville, Kentucky, May 15th, Tulsa, Oklahoma, May 23rd. And this is the 100th anniversary of the Black Wall Street massacre. And, Tulsa is trying to take a positive spin on that. They have a lot of positive events saying, hey, we're still here. So we're going to be there for that.
That's good.
June 15th, June 19th, excuse me, June 19th, we'll be in Philadelphia for Juneteenth. And my connections there, June 19th, we're doing not just a book fair, but a book festival. So we're going to be like out street festival, Black Books, doing the thing, first time in Philly. July 10th, we're in Silver Spring, Maryland, which is just minutes away from Washington, D.C. And July 31st in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So we're really running up on our time.
I know.
What goes into, and like, I know that you're not gonna be able, I hope you can answer this question. I think you know what I'm gonna ask. What goes into setting up these events? Because that's amazing. Like, you have like an entire rap tour schedule, like signed up for yourself, and I imagine you've had to do this months in advance. Like,
Yeah.
are you masterminding it? Do you have a team with you that assists you? Is this?
It's pretty much me. It's me and my telephone, pretty much. I'm reaching out to people in areas that I think would benefit from this event. And so I'm on the phone and I'm calling people asking, hey, can we use your school gym or something like that? And if that doesn't work out, then I'm trying to find a venue suitable for the event. But yeah, it requires months in advance. You can't put something together like this in a couple of weeks or even a month. You need months in advance to do this. And you need to contact people to set up a venue, and then you need to secure that venue, and you need to speak to people that live in that city, that community, and let them know that you're coming. But also you need to reach out on social media to people who would be interested in getting their books to that event. That takes time as well. You know, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but first and foremost, you got to have the drive to do it. You know, you got to want to do it, and you have to realize that this is not going to be a situation where you can make 1 or 2 phone calls and it's going to magically happen. No way. That's not the way it works. My phone bill has skyrocketed. My time on Facebook and Instagram is tripled. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you just got to stay on the grind and realize that once it happens, that it's worth it and it's going to be beautiful.
Oh my God, that's incredible, man. I really want to have you back on the show sometime in the future once your schedule clears up a bit, because I imagine you're going to be extremely busy these next couple of months with all the events. How can people reach out and contact you? How can people find you online?
Okay, so a number of different ways. On Facebook, easiest way to find me is Darryl Harvey Author. That's how you can find me on Facebook. Darryl, Darryl, Harvey, Harvey, Author, Author. And also I have a website, which is the HarveyWritersGroup.com.
Harvey'sWritersGroup.com.
Harvey, there's no S. HarveyWritersGroup.com. Yeah, so you can see the schedule of events as well as the books that I've written. You can order the books that I've written from the website.
Dude, thank you so much. Do you have any closing thoughts about anything we talked about? Anything you want people to know before you go?
Just, you know, whatever dream that you have, project that you're working on, stay vigilant, make it happen. If it's really worth it to you, stay the course. And please come to one of our events, to one of the book fairs that are coming to a city near you, and buy my books. Buy my books. Yeah.
I'll text you about something. I'll tell you about it right now real quick before we go. I've been doing reviews with other authors. So I've been reading their work, and exchange read my work. We both leave a review on Amazon. if you're down for doing that when my schedule clears up a little bit, I'll be happy to read your book. But other than that, I've been like drowning in books. Like there's more authors than there is time on the planet right now.
Sure. Yeah, man. Just reach out and we'll work it out. No problem.
Got you, 100%. Thank you for coming on the show, Darryl. This has been awesome. I really hope you had a great time. I learned a lot from you. Once I press end the meeting, though, we're just gonna dipsy doodle out. There's no like screen afterwards. So thank you again, bud. I really just beyond words. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I've really learned a lot from this show. I know I'm repeating myself, but my mind is blown, man. I wasn't expecting this.
I appreciate it, man. And just when you're done with your editing and everything, make sure you hit me up and so I can see it.
I got you, brother. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye. You too.
Go get my cake, I ain't taking no pay cut, you know that I'm wildin'. It's time to wake up, go get my cake up, I'm breaking the makeup, you know that I'm out here. It's time to wake up, go get my cake up, ain't taking no pay cut.